Welcome to today's Table Talks. My name is Scott Kappelman, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts. We've got Tyce Lawbinger just to my right. Tyce, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. We're recording on the same day, so it's kind of hard to have additional conversation.
Good, yeah.
But I've got my story.
You've got a story for us. Okay, and our next co-host down the table, further to the right, is Clark McGehee. So, Clark, give us a story to start us off today.
Okay, so I'll start with a tie-in to the topic today. I'm thankful that last night I was not followed because I got a... So everybody's looking around like, well,
This is funny.
I got a notification on my phone last night from like the Find My iPhone app on all phones. It's like a Find My iPhone. If you have a device, maybe like...
This device has been following you or something like that.
Yeah. So like if I leave my laptop or my iPad somewhere because I don't need it or I forget it, maybe I'll usually get a notification on my phone that says, hey, this device was left behind. So I got that notification. I didn't really look at it and I didn't worry about it. So I just went to sleep. And then I woke up the next morning and I looked at my notifications from the night and I said, that is very strange. It said that an AirTag was detected near me. And I don't have any AirTags. AirTags is like a little circle thing that follows you for any listeners who don't know. And I'm like pretty concerned because I look at it and I had gone to the grocery store after we got back from seminary. I had done all these things and it had every single spot that I had hit. And I was like, this is pretty weird. And it had me at my house right now. It said last detected at like 3 a.m. So I'm like, this thing knows that I'm here right now. I was like, this is so concerning. So I woke up Annabeth, actually. I was that nervous about it. I said, Annabeth, I don't want to scare you. I said, but this is odd. And I showed it to her. And even her in her sleep, she was like, do you think Tyce left something in your car yesterday from seminary? And I said, oh, that was definitely it. I said, okay, I can calm down now. So I texted Tyce at like 5:50 this morning and said, did you leave anything in my car? And he texted me later, about 30 minutes later, and said, yeah, I left my wallet and it has my AirTag in there. So
So it was Tyce's wallet.
Yeah, so don't steal from me because I'll know where it's at.
yeah, that's right.
Maybe I
You
need
can just
one
take
of
the
those
AirTag out and throw it away.
I'm going to give some of those for Christmas.
Yeah, you
to my
said,
children.
I remember you told me Eli needs one.
Yeah, Eli needs one of those.
Just don't let them sneak one into your car because that's what had
Yeah,
happened to
that's-
me. And I said, they know where I'm at right now. They've got my family.
You thought the government was coming after you.
I thought I was done for. I was like, man, they've got everything they need on me now. They know my grocery store pattern. They know it all.
That's funny. That is a good story to start off.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so I'm thankful that I was not followed last night.
Well, to use Clark's thankful story, today our topic is how can we learn to be more thankful? So we're going to talk about this topic as we move into Thanksgiving itself. We do want you to have a great Thanksgiving, and hopefully today's discussion will give you some food for thought on that. So let's go back to childhood. I like to do that a lot. Who demonstrated thankfulness maybe to you the most when you were in childhood? Who was the most thankful person you were around?
That is a wonderful question. For me, it would be my grandmother who has now passed. It was my grandmother on my dad's side, so my dad's mom. And she was just always, she lived to be like 92 or something. And she was just always so joyful about everything in life. We would always do Thanksgiving and Christmas at her house. So that always just built up this thankfulness as well. But just, everything in life, she always had a smile on her face. She was always thankful. So she set just an incredible example for me to be content and to be joyful or thankful in all things.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Tyce?
My older sister, Cherith.
Really?
Oh,
Yep.
this
That's very
is
nice.
kind. Yeah.
So, she's just always content, always very thankful to have things. I think content's probably the better word, but she was very content. I've seen her car get backed into, and her response was, I can't take it to heaven. It's okay.
Wow.
And just very I'm just thankful to be here doing what I'm doing. So,
That's neat.
yep.
I would say, going back to Clark's answer, my grandmother on my mother's side was probably the most thankful. My granddaddy was an interesting guy and a rounder, so he could be a handful, and she just lived with him with incredible gratitude and took care of him and was kind to him and gracious, and she just always had a smile on her face and seemed to be very thankful for each day that she got. So I'm going to go with my grandmother on my mother's side. Yours was grandmother on your father's side.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm impressed that Cherith is in your list. There,
Yeah, Tyce is trying to get a good Christmas gift.
That's okay.
He's sending this to her and saying, "Hey, just thought about you today." And he said, "Let me get a great
look at this
Christmas
video while you when you
Yeah.
got some time just to know how much your brother loves you.
She doesn't watch them. No.
Okay. All right. On a scale of 1, meaning not thankful, to 10, being very thankful, how would you rate your level of daily thankfulness?
I thought you were just going to say on a scale of 1 and just leave it at that. I was like, okay.
No, 1 to 10. 1 to 10.
That's a good question.
So I'm sorry, ask it again. I got distracted by Tyce laughing there.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your level of daily thankfulness? Yours personally.
Oh, should I be humble or? I would probably say like a 5. It depends. I will say some things I lose all sight of thankfulness. Like if I'm driving and somebody's just being a terrible driver, I pretty much lose my thankfulness. And I'm thinking, what is this person doing right now?
We talked about that last night.
We did talk about this driving home from seminary last night. I'm just thinking, what is this person doing right now? So I just, if I can be set off in the right way, and I recognize this is wrong, I'm not saying this is a good thing, but if I can be set off a certain way, I think I can just lose sight of all the things, all the good things that I have.
Tyce, you got a number?
Yeah, I feel like I need my wife here to really just to tell it how it really is. But I feel like growing up, I was like a 2 growing up. But I think the Lord has done a work in me, and I feel like I'm a pretty thankful person.
Okay.
Pretty content person. I know I'm using those words synonymously, but
So put a number on it, Tyce.
7.75.
7.75. I love it. I might say the same thing you did, Tyce. As a child, I was probably a
Goodness
2
gracious.
most
Not
days,
terrible.
maybe a 3. But I would say now I'm more like an 8 most days. Now, there are days I run into some situations like you're talking about, Clark, that would make it drop. But most days I'm very thankful, very content. Like God's been good.
Yep.
And since he's been good, I'm okay with that.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
even if he wasn't good, I'd still be okay with that. But
That's true. Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. Maybe I'll go higher than a 5 for myself.
yeah, I think 5 is kind of low.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
I mean, Annabeth would have to give us the most accurate
That's
number,
right,
but I
yeah.
would say you got to be above a 5. That's middle of the road.
Well, I'm thankful that you said that, so that at least knocks me up to a 6.
Okay.
It's like you're telling me your height. You're like 5'9". Nah, I'm really 6 foot.
I knew Tyce was going to say something. You knocked me down to a 5, Tyce.
Okay, so what about some verses that have been significant to you as it relates to biblical thankfulness? Any verses that come to mind that you want to share with the listeners today?
Yeah, I do. I would love to go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, where a very convicting verse. You think about, man, what is God's will for my life? And you read 1 Thessalonians, it's either 5 or it might be 4. Yeah, maybe it is 4. And it is...
It's 5, 16 through 18.
Oh, see, thank you. There's two God's wills in 1 Thessalonians, and it kind of get 16 to 18, you said?
Yes, sir.
Rejoice, this is it, yeah. Rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. So I think that's a very convicting verse and a very hopeful verse, that it is truly God's will for us to be thankful. I mean, it is, you want to ask all the time, what is God's plan? What is his will for my life? It is for one thing, just to be thankful, to rejoice always.
That's good. Tyce?
Yeah, I go to Luke 15 typically when I think of thankfulness, and that's normally known for the parable of the lost son, but there's 2 parables before it. And the one I want to hit on is the parable of the lost coin. So Luke 15:8, or suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and loses one. Does she not light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? And when she finds it, she calls her friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, for I have found my lost coin." In the same way I tell you, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God when one sinner who repents. And so for this woman who has absolutely nothing, she has every right to not be thankful that she only has 10 coins, and she could just throw in the towel when one of them's gone and say, well, now I've got 9 and my life is just done. But I mean, she just distributes such thankfulness that she's found it, and that she even has 10 coins, that she's willing to invite her neighbors over into her house, which would cost her money because she'd probably have to feed them and provide for them because they've entered her house. And so just true thankfulness in this.
All right, so we heard a very great evangelist preach at our church a few weeks ago, and he preached from Psalm 100.
Yes.
And
This is true.
in Psalm 100,
World renowned.
world famous
World famous.
preacher from our church.
Yeah.
At
Great.
our church.
I
And
have no idea
he,
who we're talking about.
Well,
Was
you're
I
about
here?
to find out. Yeah,
Were you here?
You were here.
I think
I
you
might
were
have been in
here.
the nursery then. I don't know.
No, I'm shocked you can't remember. I mean, I'm talking lives were changed from this
Okay,
message.
well, go ahead and read it. I might.
He preached from Psalm 100, and verse 4 says, "Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and bless his name." And of course, that world famous evangelist was Sarai Rowell, who kicked
I've only seen, well, okay, never mind. It was a few weeks ago. Yeah, I was here.
You were here?
Oh,
I think you
your
were here
life
that
wasn't
Sunday. I don't know
Was
if
it
you were.
during this sermon series?
Yes, it was in
Okay,
our
yeah, I was
current
here.
sermon
Yeah, I was
series. He started it off. I was not there that Sunday, but I did watch it on video, so I know
Yeah.
all about it. So I thought that was a good verse for us to consider today. And then Psalm 106, verse 1 says, "Hallelujah, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His faithful love endures forever." And that statement, his love endures forever, his faithful love endures forever, is one of those statements that the Israelite people made on a regular basis as they worshiped God. So give thanks. So I thought that was a good one. Any other verses y'all want to throw in as far as biblical thankfulness?
no, I think this is good. I
Yeah,
think we could pick so many Psalms. I mean, I'm looking just at Psalm 107, just on the same page, verse 1. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endures forever. I think there's just, throughout the Psalms, it is clear that we can be so thankful towards the Lord. And oftentimes, I love that it's tied into the connection of who God is. So we should be thankful because we know who God is. We give thanks to the Lord, for he is good.
Right. And I want to go to one more, Hebrews 12:28, and this has to do with Jesus. "Therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, let us be thankful. By it we may serve God acceptably with reverence and awe, for God is a consuming fire." So rather than facing God's judgment because of our faith in Jesus Christ, we now have this eternal kingdom that we've been made a part of. And so that should lead us to be thankful. So I want to throw that one in.
That's good.
What causes us to lose our thankfulness? We know the Bible is calling for us to be thankful, obviously in all these verses, but what can interrupt and cause us to lose our attitude of thankfulness? Obviously, drivers who are not driving very well. That's number one.
Yeah, I think anything that takes us away from a sober mind, and I don't mean drunkenness necessarily, but just anything that can, I used the word, like the phrase set me off earlier, anything that really just kind of sets you off, whether it be a driver, whether it be just life situations. I think when we can be by ourselves, we can think sober-mindedly, we can look at, okay, I have so many things to be thankful for. Give thanks to the Lord just for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever. I think if we can just be sober-minded, we can be thankful, but anything that takes us away from that, which I know is broad, but anything that takes us away from that can help us to lose sight of all the things that we have and then to be thankful.
That's good. Anything, Tyce?
Yeah,
You think?
I think for me, it's typically when plans change.
Plans change.
Yeah, and so I've always been told, blessed are the flexible, because they'll never be bent out of shape. And sometimes I do struggle with that flexibility, and just especially plans can change on a dime, and I'm okay with that if it hasn't been something that I've been planning for months. But like if I've been looking forward to this, or I've just been putting a lot of work into it, and plans have to change, that's typically what gets me. So, yep.
No, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah, that is good.
I think entitlement is something that robs us of thankfulness. When
yeah.
we think we deserve something and we don't get it,
Absolutely.
That's a good point.
then we lose our thankfulness in that moment.
Yep.
They owe me this.
I think certain people too, thinking of the holidays, truly certain people can rob us of our thankfulness, which is so wrong, because we don't want, we want to be able to be thankful, but some people can just rob us of that, really.
I think another thing is, and this is where if I brought Brooklyn in, she might say I'm not as thankful as I think I am, because sometimes we just set standards, and it's similar to self-entitlement. But for me, it's like you get to Thanksgiving and everyone's like, "Oh, I'm so thankful for family," and blah 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 blah. But I'm like, that's just like the bare, like that to me, that's the bare minimum. And so we should be thankful for the extra things that we get, instead of looking at just like, "Hey, this is what it is," and like I should be thankful that I even have this. And so for me, it's just like a bar, like I set a bar pretty high, and like as if you hit what should be done, then we're not thankful for that. Just like you did what you're supposed to do, and if you go above, then you should be thankful. But I think a lot of times people do that. They set bars in a weird spot where it's like, this is just a standard. Why would I be thankful for the standard?
Yeah. The only other one I thought of was jealousy. I think jealousy keeps us from being thankful because we're always watching what the other person has, and we don't have it, and so we're jealous, and that robs us of what we could be thankful for that we already do have in our possession. So I just want us to kind of think about, because we know the Bible's calling us to be thankful, but obviously some days it is a struggle for us to be thankful. Well, what is it that causes that? And I think we've identified some good reasons.
Yeah, comparison goes right along there.
Yeah,
with
it goes
jealousy.
along with that. That's right. Exactly. Okay, what are practical steps? I'm not talking about biblical steps. It's like, what are practical steps that help us to be more thankful? Because that's the topic. How can we learn to be more thankful? Any thoughts on that?
I love the idea of going home after a long day and sitting down and just counting 3 things that were...
Like count your blessings.
Yeah, really. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, 3 things that just were great today. I think that if you can go to sleep on something positive, it'll help you the next day.
I like that. I had in my list create a gratitude journal.
I think
You're
that's-
doing the same thing. You're just thinking about it mentally. Well, these are 3 blessings I experienced today, and I was thinking about writing it down in a journal.
Right.
Yeah, it's something I would encourage, and it's very similar to both what you said. With kids, it's really good when you're in a family setting, especially sitting down for dinner, to do a high-low buffalo. And so here's a high of your day. Here's something you're thankful for. Here's a low, and how can we, like your parents hear that? How can you turn that for good? And then a buffalo is just something crazy. Like if you saw a buffalo in the South just randomly, that would be crazy. And so it's a crazy thing that happened today. And then just like be thankful that you got to experience that crazy thing.
I have never heard this, Tyce.
Really?
but I
That's new
love
for
it.
you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a new one for me, but I really like it. A high-low buffalo.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to incorporate that somewhere.
Okay.
I love
Okay,
it.
yeah.
I love it. That actually might make a good parenting podcast.
Well,
one
there we
day.
go.
You can
That's
have
true.
a little episode on that. So I like it. I also wrote down this: serve others, especially those who
Oh,
are
this
less
is good,
fortunate.
yeah.
I think that's just always a good way to be reminded of how thankful. I know the trips I've taken to Romania and Guatemala both led me to places that were very impoverished, and seeing that and then coming home, when I got back home, I was just so thankful for all that we had in the United States and how blessed we are from a material position in the world. Like, we're super rich compared to the rest of the world in most cases.
True.
So, any others that you have?
I mean, there's so many practical things you can do. Even going off that line, just like take a day, take a week to say like I'm gonna try and live without for as much as possible. Like I encourage people to go camping because you can only bring so much, and it's just sometimes it's terrible, but you're very thankful for what you have when it happens. So
It reignites the thankfulness when you
Yeah.
get back.
yeah. And then I would encourage like be thankful. I know you said not biblical yet, but like go try to like walk around and look at nature and just be like thank you for like how like great this side. Like I encourage you to go and look at a sunset because I think about this often. Like people in the Bible time, they didn't just have their phone, so like they probably like the most entertaining thing that happened in the evening was to watch a sunset.
Yeah.
And so whether that makes you thankful for God or just thankful that you see something pretty, but just like that's a very easy thing. Like every night, make a point to try and look.
I
at
had
a
written
sunset.
it this way: celebrate the small things in
Yeah,
life. But
there you
that's
go.
what I
That's
had
good,
in mind.
yeah.
That's good.
Stop and smell the roses.
Yeah, absolutely. Smell the roses. Those I've said this before: sunsets and sunrises. Of course, sunrise comes before sunset. It's 4 minutes to come over the tree line. Either way, and so if everybody's got 4 minutes they can spend to pause and watch the sun come up, or pause and watch the sun set.
Yep.
And that 4 minutes, like you said, is so amazing. You're just reminded of God's creation. It's phenomenal.
I like that.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that before we get into the final question I have?
I think I'm fixing to take that home and tell Annabeth we need to watch the sunset more.
4 minutes, that's all it takes to go down the tree line. Okay, what does a thankful life look like from a biblical standpoint? How would you describe a life of thankfulness from a biblical standpoint? And I'm going to give you some examples. For example, a thankful life is generous. And I would take that from 2 Corinthians 9, verse 11, where Paul is reminding them of the generosity that comes out of all that we've been given in Jesus Christ. So 2 Corinthians 9, verse 11, you will be enriched in every way for all generosity, which produces thanksgiving to God through us. So when we are generous, it allows us to be even more thankful, and thanksgiving is given to God because we recognize that everything we've been able to give came from Him in the initial phase. So we're giving thanks to God even as we're generous with others. So that's what I kind of had in mind. I know y'all didn't have this question in advance, so I'm kind of putting you on the spot.
No, that's okay. I think I have two thoughts, actually.
Okay, go ahead.
Colossians 3:17, a thankful heart is one that works hard. And it says, and whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through Him. So I think just being reminded that, we work not for man, but for God, that our actual physical work leads to a greater work ethic with us being thankful, but also just all that we do, being reminded that we're doing it in the name of the Lord Jesus. But to do that, we give thanks to God the Father through Him.
If you back up while you're there,
Yeah.
and you'll read Colossians 3:15 and 16 and 17. Read the first two that
Sure.
go with that.
Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace, and be thankful. Let the message of Christ dwell among you richly as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom through psalms, hymns, and songs from the Spirit, singing to God with gratitude in your hearts. And whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through Him.
So it seems to be those three verses have a lot to say about
That's
things.
true.
And one of the things I wrote down, and I think you came up with a really good one that I did not have, is that a thankful life is peaceful.
That's good.
That's
too.
at the beginning, I think, more toward verse 15.
Let the peace of Christ
let the
rule
peace
in
of
your
Christ
hearts.
rule. So I think when we're thankful, there's a peacefulness that comes over us because we know who's giving us all things, and that's Christ. Any others? You had two. I think I cut you off on the...
No, that's
after the
okay. I was
first
going to tie back to the very first verse I used from 1 Thessalonians 5:16 and 17, which is just that a thankful life is one that is in God's will. And I think that that's good for us to recognize. It's not necessarily as practical, but it is one that is within God's will.
That's good.
Tyce has got something.
Yeah, I've got two.
Nice.
And 2 Timothy. And so first off, a thankful life is one of faith. And so 2 Timothy 1 verse 3, I thank God whom I serve as my forefathers did, with clear conscience as night and day, as I constantly remember you in my prayers. Recalling your tears, I long to see you that I may be filled with joy. I have been reminded of your sincere faith with which you lived with your grandmother Lois and with your mother Eunice, and I am persuaded now lives in you also. I think I read that right. But essentially, Paul is very thankful for how he sees Timothy live. And Timothy can only live this way in great faith when he is thankful and he is content in the Lord and what he's done. And so a thankful life is one done in faith. Not only helps you to be thankful, but helps other people around you to be thankful for what you're doing. And then if you continue on, you go down to verse 6 and 7. For this reason I reminded you to fan into the flame of the gift of God, which is in you through the laying on of my hands. For God did not give us a spirit of timidity, but a spirit of power and love and self-discipline. And so a thankful life is also one that is determined. And so we can sometimes get confused and like, I'm determined because I'm not thankful. I'm going to work to get what I want. But a determination that's in God, a determination that's biblical, is one that, hey, I'm very thankful for what I have, so now I can work to serve others, and I can not be timid in these moments, and I can be bold to do what God has called me to do because I'm thankful that He's already given me so much.
That's good.
That is
I like
good.
that. I had written down a thankful life is one that rejoices each day. And I went to a familiar verse. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So that's Psalm 118, verse 24. So I think when we're thankful, we rejoice and celebrate each day. And then Tyce, to tie back to what you said about your sister, which was so kind. We may have to send this to her.
Yeah.
Philippians 3, verses 12. Let me make sure I'm reading the right. 4, 12 and 13. I'm sorry. I know both how to make do with little, and I know how to make do with a lot in any any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of being content, whether well fed or hungry, whether in abundance or need. I'm able to do all things through Him who strengthens me. Still, you did well by partnering with me in my hardship. And so I think we can be thankful when we're content. It shows us contentment. We've come to realize Christ is everything that we need, and so therefore we're going to be thankful in Him. So I just thought those were some good reminders for us of how to live a thankful life, and then what does it look like from a biblical standpoint. Any others that you thought of?
I'm sure there's a lot more.
Oh yeah, there are a lot more, but I think a thankful life also celebrates Jesus. Thanks be to God for His indescribable gift that comes out of 1 Corinthians, and so I think that's one that we would also focus on. But I'm hoping that this episode, if nothing else, will remind you as you go through this Thanksgiving season, there's a lot to be thankful for, and it is something that God expects us to do on a regular basis, is to live a thankful life. And so I'm excited about it. I love Thanksgiving. It's my favorite season of the year.
Really?
Lots of food, no presents.
So
there's
presents.
no stress.
Well, I guess so. I'm a big gift
Lots
giver.
of good food. So anyway, yeah, you're a gift giver, so you like Christmas. That's good. Any final comments from either one of you?
No, sir.
I think we're good.
All right. Well, we're glad that you've joined us. We're thankful for you watching this all the way to the end, and I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy some great food, get some rest, and if you enjoy football, get a few football games in. If you enjoy shopping, Black Friday will be right after Thanksgiving. If you don't enjoy either one of those, then just take a good nap and enjoy some rest before you start another busy stretch of the year. Hope you have a great day.